What's up, guys? Nick here with Gadget Inspector. I'm the lead gadget inspector, and today we're going to attempt to answer a question that has really plagued me for probably the last 3 or 4 years. Maybe it's plagued you too. If you're a Samsung fan, you know the question has always been, since the inception probably of about the Fold 3, do you go Fold or do you go with the Ultra? Stay tuned and we'll try to tackle this the best way that I know how. And at the end, I promise you I won't waffle. I will make a decision on which one I personally think is best. Maybe it's, not going to be your decision, but I'll at least tell you which one I would go for. All right. Fold versus Ultra. It's kind of a hard choice, honestly. And I feel like while I was doing this review, while I was trying to analyze both of these devices, I feel like it's very intentional that Samsung gave certain things to one device and then took certain things away from another device because they almost are complementary to one another to the point that it makes a decision hard. But I will highlight the points at which they differ and where one has a strength over the other to try and help you make a decision. So let's dig into the form factor themselves. All right. Let's start with a 25 Ultra. Okay, so here we go. This is the S25 Ultra. Nothing, it's like nothing to see here, right? It's a standard candy bar phone. Um, it's here, right? This is yesteryear's model. What you do get with this is durability, right? So it is IP69, certified, whatever that means. It's high. Um, I never worry about this phone breaking. You can see how thin my, Pitaka case is. I don't put big, bulky OtterBox cases on it, and really haven't done that since the S23 Ultra. Before the S23 Ultra, the last big OtterBox I bought was probably the S21 Ultra. Um, but yeah, it's kind of very what you see is what you get, right? It's got an amazing camera system on it, but that doesn't really count for the form factor. It fits in your hand. It's kind of mimicking the Note series, and I was an original Note user. Um, and one of the other benefits of this form factor is that you've gotten the built-in S Pen. Boop, boop, boop. Now, big note here, quick side tangent, quick rant. I absolutely hate that they got rid of the Bluetooth functionality on the S25 Ultra S Pen. I guess I'm just like one of the only 99%, 0.1% or whatever of people who is using that function. But let me tell you, as a solo content creator, it was one of the ways that I justified using a Samsung phone over an iPhone because I was able to take my S Pen out, set up my camera, and use the S Pen as kind of a shutter on or off switch. And it made my life so much easier as a solo small content creator. This really broke my heart when they took this away. And then their explanation of, well, nobody uses it really punched me in the face. I don't even know I bought one of these, to be honest with you. It's kind of how I feel when I heard about that. No, I'm just kidding. The phone is great, but I definitely was one of the people who felt the blow of not having that. So Samsung, if you can bring it back, please bring back my one of my favorite features because it was definitely a huge brag to use it. And I'll show some of the shots that I got with it. But that is the S Pen is there. It is built in, but it no longer has that Bluetooth functionality. So that's a loss for the form factor for me for the S25 Ultra. So let's move on to the Z Fold 6. All right, now there's a lot to talk about here. This is a foldable. So with this form factor, you get multiple, it's almost like multiple devices at once. Go figure, right? It's a foldable. So with that, you can kind of put it up like this, right? And that offers you, with the camera at least, the ability to kind of do camcorder mode. It doesn't really work so much with the book style foldables, but it's here, right? It more interestingly can give you the laptop mode, right? And yes, this does work with texting, right? It's probably one of my favorite things to do. Come here and go, offer more laptop-like experience. You have also got the ability with a foldable to use the powerful main cameras as selfie cams. So you see here, and people make it look way harder than it actually is. Got to learn the shortcuts on your phone, guys. So shortcut here, you go here, swipe, and you are ready for a selfie, right? With your 50 megapixel instead of the typically not so great selfie cameras. See how fast that was. Also, as a solo content creator, this thing doubles as its own kickstand. So the ability to prop it up like so, have that camera angled at me, and use the gestures to stop and start my camera with no other equipment needed. All I have to do is find a spot that's going to give me the proper height. Even though these cameras are not as great as the S25 cameras, and we will talk about that for sure at length, this allows me to record more content. As you can see, I'll upload some of my shots that I've gotten here. It's also amazing if you have kids. So I have a toddler, and keeping toddlers entertained on the go, especially if you're out in public somewhere where you can just, you know what, here you go. Here's some cartoons, Netflix or whatever. I need you to be still and quiet and focused on something for a few minutes while I do this other thing. Not just that you're out in public at any time. It is a lifesaver. It is a game changer. This is definitely a phone for the parent in you. But yeah, and so many other things. Like I think that this form factor's potential is almost limitless, right? Like just this little motion right here opens up a new world of possibilities. What I will not talk about, because this is something that I see other reviewers talk about when they talk about the Z Fold 6, is the S Pen. Here's my caveat to that. Yes, it does have the ability to utilize an S Pen. It does not come with this phone, okay? The S Pen is not a part, nor has it really ever been a part of the functionality of the Z Fold line, and especially not for the Z Fold 6. If you want an S Pen, keep in mind you must spend from Samsung another $100 to get the S Pen case, or go on Amazon. Now you can go on Amazon and get the knockoff pens. I don't know how well or not well they work, but you must spend more money in order to get that. So I'm not giving the Z Fold 6 any points for an S Pen. I'm not even going to discuss the S Pen's use with the Z Fold 6 because it's not a part of it. You don't get the S Pen with it. So it's not a part of its form factor like the S Pen is with the form factor of the S25 Ultra or the Ultra series in general. No matter how dumbed down it is now, at least it has one. Okay, so now that we're done talking about the form factors, let's talk about another hot point of contention between these two phones, which is going to be, you guessed it, we alluded to it, the cameras. So I'm going to upload some shots here. I'm just going to talk a little bit about the cameras, and we're not going to go over specs, right? Let's blow it out the way first. Like this has the 200 megapixel camera. New for this year is going to be the 50 megapixel ultra wide that they added, as well as the 5x telephoto. I will say that for sure the S25 Ultra does two things. One full clear step better than the Z Fold 6 cameras, and that is clarity and zoom. Okay, so the photos and videos that you get with the S25 Ultra are one full step ahead. There's also the ability for the S25 Ultra new this year to shoot in log. I am not like a big, I will upload some color corrected log photos and videos. Sorry, some color corrected log videos for you to see versus non-color corrected. So just so that you can see, but it's not something that I use. It's just another step for me. I think that the HDR on the cameras is just fine. I don't have interest in going super depth into image quality things. I'm not some type of audiovisual professional. I just want to get this information out there. But with all of that being said, The Z Fold 6's cameras have some tricks up their sleeve of their own, and it's mostly going to be composition based. And quite frankly, it's the thing that I care more about, because most of my stuff, once again, it's not professional work, it's not paid work, it's just me kind of indulging in this hobby and recording, YouTube videos and other things, right? So the ability for one, for this camera to sit like this and for me to take a shot, okay? That is invaluable to me as, once again, a small content creator. I don't have like gimbals and a ton of like um, kickstands and stuff like that. So the ability for this thing to kind of double over as that is amazing. This right here. And then when you do add equipment, I will show you here the ability to record with, when I do want to get out a tripod, the ability to have a built-in viewfinder with this special tripod for my video recordings. I mean, look at that. That's cool, right? That's invaluable. So it's a lot easier than even using my full frame camera, right? Using full frame cameras takes skill. I'm using one right now. And I will upload videos that I have taken with both of these phones so that you can see the difference in quality. But I will tell you, I record more things with my Z Fold 6 for the simple fact that it's easier. Out of all the cameras that I have, it is the second easiest one to record with. But I would put that in first place because it's always in my pocket. So just for frame of reference, I have a DJI Osmo Pocket 3. I have a Sony Alpha 7, and of course my S25 Ultra. And I record most of my stuff with my Z Fold 6 because it's easy and it's always with me, period. And that's kind of what they say, right? The most important camera is the one that's in your pocket. It's the one you have on you. I always have this on me, and when I do have it on me, it's not too difficult for me to be able to just say, oh man, let me set this up somewhere. I can always find a corner. I can always find a shelf and get some shots, photos, videos, etc. So in that makes the choice very, very difficult, right? So you have the S25, who hands down has a much better camera system, much more versatile. You get better zoom. And I'll show you the stark difference in the photo. I'm not going to do like most reviewers and kind of try to hide the weaknesses of the Z Fold 6. Here's some photos of my my outing to watch the Buffalo Bills and the Texans play, and you can see the clear difference in the Z Fold 6 versus the 25 Ultra zoom shots. It's not even close. Um, so yeah, I'm not trying to hide it, but the reality is that the Z Fold 6 has got some tricks up its sleeve that the S25 Ultra just can't match. Not without accessorizing or adding another person to help you operate the camera. So for me, camera department, the Z Fold 6 wins, but not for the reasons that you would typically think, or not in a way that kind of makes sense on paper. You would really just have to have, use, and own the device to kind of know, like, man, you miss it. You miss being able to get those shots that you can get with the Z Fold 6. All right, another hot topic, where these devices differ. Battery life. All right, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I'm not going to lie to you. 5,000 milliamp battery right here, 25 Ultra, 4,400 milliamp battery. Once again, for it's frustrating, right? Like, for the device that does more, when you have a Z Fold 6, you are going to tend to do more things on your phone because you have a phone that can do more things. The downside is you have a smaller battery. So you're going to use your phone more and you're going to have a smaller battery with which to use that phone. So of course, by nature, I have to charge my Z Fold 6 at least once before I can get to bed. My S25 Ultra, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what I do with it. And I'm not like, I am not a battery saving mode type of person. Absolutely not. It's set to the highest display setting. It's typically a pretty bright on the screen, at least halfway or better on the screen brightness. I use all of the animations. I don't do any of that, battery management stuff. I do a lot with my phone. I use the Android Autos. I use I use it to tether internet connection, right? Mobile hotspot, which can be pretty draining on your battery. Using it for recording sometimes whenever I do have my my tripod. So yeah, the 25 Ultra will last you all day, even with all of those settings. You've got to be doing some hard gaming or something like that in order to actually drain the battery. So once again, that conundrum of, man, the Z Fold 6 would be amazing if it had that battery. There would be almost no reason to consider a 25 Ultra the better phone if the Z Fold 6 had a bigger battery and had those cameras. It's built for a content creator like me, the ability to do this and get content solo anytime, anywhere. But then you didn't put the best cameras on it. Why? That's a very uninteresting choice. Like, why did you do that? But either way, I digress. Um, and I purposely waited to. So let's talk about the software experience. And I will tell you that I purposely waited to make this video for the Z Fold 6 series to get stable One UI 7 to make a judgment, because a lot of what the hype around the 25 Ultra was just One UI 7 and how great it looked and how much improvement it gave the device. So I will say, now that my Z Fold 6 also has One UI 7, um, the software experience is going to be hands down the Z Fold 6. It's a winner for sure because of the multitasking. And even though the S25 can multitask, one of the big differences here is going to be this taskbar, right? Like the ability to go into an app, get this taskbar pulled up, and get an app pairings, right? So I do have like notes in my Kindle, right? The ability to do this. Once again, no S Pen. I won't talk about the S Pen for the Z Fold 6, but the ability to do 3 apps if I really wanted to, right? So I can go here, get, another app, and then and then it's practical, right? So I'll show you on the 25 Ultra. Yeah, you can multitask, but for one, you don't get this. You don't get the cool task bar, right? That makes everything easier. That's all you get. If you want to multitask, you gotta kind of drag and drop, and just all of that makes it a little more difficult. And for me, the big point to where I go, all right, this is not fun anymore, is the moment you've got to pop your keyboard up while you have 2 apps open, right? It just makes it not worth it. Whereas on the Z Fold 6, this is 3 apps open. I get a keyboard, and this side's still pretty usable, right? Because of that aspect ratio. And maybe 3 apps doesn't really work with the keyboard, but 2 apps most certainly still does, right? You look at all that viewership you still have, right? Either way you slice it. So software experience, hidden app functionality. YouTube is one of the better ones, right? It's my funny guy, Niles, man. So you get this view, but you also get this view, laptop mode. And then when you activate this feature in Labs, you can also get a different functionality where you can control your YouTube video here. And I mean, I tell you, like with the Z Fold 6, lunch breaks are epic, man. Lunch breaks are epic. Football season, I don't miss a game, man. If I'm, find a corner at work, put the game on and just leave it like this. Like it just doesn't work. Now I know most people have like little pop sockets or MagSafe, something where they do that. But once again, that does not come with your phone. It does not come with the S25 Ultra. The Z Fold 6 can do this out of the box. There's extra software functionality with all of these apps that you get with the foldable experience and ability. And this, by the way, is also the reason that I think that the Z Fold 6 is the best foldable in the United States, at least, is that software experience where that Samsung has optimized it and made it easy for you to get in and out of all of those apps and things like that. So I think those are kind of the major points on where these two devices really differ. Um, but just to wrap things up, I think that, boy, um, it is kind of a hard choice. And so, what I didn't do in this video is I intentionally did not talk about specs, because I think if you take the specs out of it, you don't have that much of a reason to go for the 25 Ultra, right? If I don't go, oh, it's got like a 200 megapixel camera and this ultra wide, these macros, and it can shoot in 8K. I don't know who's even shooting in 8K. I'm not filming a movie with my S25 Ultra. Don't get me wrong, Samsung. I'm so glad that you were pushing the boundaries. I'm glad that it's there, but I don't need 8K. Um, and when you look at the Z Fold 6, it's like it does so many practical things. And I'm sure I'm failing to mention so many things that this thing can do just by nature of its foldable um, form factor. So, but it is a bummer that they did not they didn't go ultra for the Z Fold 6. You didn't put the best cameras on here. You didn't include an S Pen for like this is a tablet, so you didn't include an S Pen with your tablet, and your phone has one. It's almost like a kick in the face. You have this device that you can do so much on with two screens, by the way. This thing has two screens on it, and you didn't put the biggest battery that you can put in there. So it's almost like, God, it's perfect, but then it's just like, oh, I'm gonna give you this one big flaw that makes you go, I might want to get an S25 Ultra because of the battery, because of the cameras. And then you kind of say, well, I'll accessorize my 25 Ultra and get the most out of that instead of going for the Z Fold 6. But I will tell you that the day-to-day use of both of these devices, I chose to deal with the Z Fold 6's shortcomings because it gives me so much more. Look, there's nothing like being able to kind of, soothe my toddler just by flipping my phone open, setting this on a table instead of just handing them my phone and saying, hey, you sit in this seat and watch these cartoons. There's something to be said for being able to, pop up and feel like I can film whenever, whatever, and get some interesting shots. I'll put some up here. By using the motion or even combining it with my Ultra Watch. It's not an Ultra Watch video, so I'll refrain from talking too much about that. But yeah, I think all things considered, I would much rather deal with the Z Fold 6. It's a unique experience. It is an experience that you literally can't get without the foldable form factor. And for all the foldable form factor devices, I do think that in the United States, at least, this is the best one. And so that's where I am putting my money. Hopefully that was helpful. Let me know what you think. Comments, questions, concerns. Are you Team Fold or Team Ultra? And hopefully this year with the Z Fold 7, we get something that's closer to like a, Fold Ultra, like the one that China got and Korea. Who knows? But yeah, like, comment, subscribe. I got more videos coming. I'm going to try out so much technology this year. I hope you guys want to be a part of it. And yeah, till the next time, peace out.